Masher Leslie Phillips as the Wolf of the Ward.
Mr. Bell! Ding dong, carry on.
Welcome to another episode of Beautiful, Bad and Bizarre. Today we're back here at Chingford Mount Cemetery, bringing flowers and visiting the final resting place of the wonderful actor Leslie Phillips. Known for his aristocratic charm and eloquent presentation, Leslie Phillips seamlessly navigated the realms of both comedy and drama, leaving an indelible mark on the entertainment landscape. Behind the polished veneer, however, lies the intriguing dichotomy of a man who, despite his upper-class portrayal on screen, held a genuine connection to his roots and always saw himself as a proud cockney kid from Chingford in Essex. He was a maestro of portraying characters exuding sophistication and allure. Renowned for his wit and debonair elegance, Leslie Phillips crafted a legacy that resonated with his audience. Yet, beneath the sophisticated, polished facade was a man with a genuine, unpretentious spirit, hailing from the vibrant streets of Chingford. The contrast between his aristocratic on-screen persona and his true roots add layers of complexity to the life of a beloved star, making Leslie Phillips a fascinating and enigmatic figure for the discerning film and TV enthusiasts. So let's delve into this wonderful biography. Leslie Samuel Phillips, born on April the 20th, 1924, in Welbourne Road, Tottenham, London, would always consider himself a cockney. He was the youngest of three children born to Frederick Samuel Phillips and Cecilia née Newlove. The couple married on June the 1st, 1914. They had faced the common challenges of the times of losing children during pregnancy or childbirth. Leslie's surviving siblings were his older sister Doris, nicknamed Dolly, 7 years his senior, and his brother Fred, who was just over 3 years older than Leslie. His father, Frederick, suffered from a chronic heart condition. They were a working-class family, and with Fred Sr.'s health issues, there was considerable pressure on the couple, which included trying to make ends meet. But Leslie recalled a happy childhood, full of both fun and love. Leslie's first introduction to fame was when his mother entered him into a beauty competition in Ramsgate on their annual summer holiday. Leslie would later say he didn't want to be modest, but he won the competition, hands down. On December the 4th, 1930, Leslie's grandfather, Richard Phillips, tragically took his own life at the age of 65, a day after being forced to retire from working for the railway, a job he loved. Leslie's uncle, Arthur Phillips, had also taken his own life in 1918 while on leave from the trenches. He couldn't face returning and would drown himself just days before the end of World War I. In 1931, when Leslie was about 6 years old, the family moved to Chingford in Essex for the sake of Fred Sr.'s health. Considering the area as practically countryside back then, they settled in a red brick semi here on Middleton Avenue. Leslie would grow up with a great love of animals and was seldom without a cat or a much-loved dog in his life. Leslie joined the New Road Primary School in Chingford, and this was where he had his first taste of drama and football, both of which he loved, becoming a lifelong devoted fan of Tottenham Hotspur football team. Another tragedy would soon strike the family when his father's health deteriorated suddenly, leading to an urgent hospitalisation where, on the 25th of March 1935, Frederick Samuel Phillips sadly died. In his must-read autobiography, Hello, I'll leave details in the description of this video, Leslie vividly recounts the heart-wrenching moment he was urged to enter the front room of his home where his father lay before the funeral. The next morning, as he embarked on his paper round, he was engulfed by grief and the haunting image of his dear dad laying in his coffin. Even years later, the memory sent shivers of horror down his spine. With Fred Sr.'s death, Cecilia faced more problems in keeping their home and having enough to live on. Celia earned money by fixing clothes, and Fred and Doris got jobs since they were old enough. Even 11-year-old Leslie helped out financially. To deal with the tough times, they sold their small house and moved into different rented flats. Cecilia strongly believed her son had a bright future in the theatre. She arranged for him to audition at the Atelier Conti School. Leslie passed the audition, and recognising the family's financial challenges, Miss Conti quietly spoke to his mother about it, saying, "When we see a child with promise, we look for other ways of providing their fees. We will take Leslie, and as soon as he is ready, we will find him work. We will act as his agents, and his fees will be paid from his earnings. Of course, as agents, we will take 20%. Brimming with pride, Cecilia happily boasted about her son Leslie, the future film star, to anyone who would listen. Leslie received elocution lessons, and during his time at stage school he landed a role in his first film, Lassie from Lancashire, released in 1938. In December 1937 he signed his first theatre contract for the Christmas production of Peter Pan with Anna Neagle. Leslie cherished his work in the theatre, and from his early days at the Atelier Conti stage school and during his entire career, he was rarely without a job. It always amazed Leslie that his mother took the initiative to get him into stage school. It's charming to mention that his proud mum used to buy her own ticket and sneak into the theatre without telling him. She would only go backstage if he spotted her in the audience and caught her before she left to catch her bus home. In Leslie's next film, 1938's The Citadel, alongside stars like Robert Donat and Rosalind Russell, it was Rex Harrison who caught Leslie's interest. When he worked with the couple on the production of No Time for Comedy, Leslie developed a crush on Harrison's soon-to-be wife, Lily Palmer. He came to know Rex Harrison very well, and in the 1957 film Les Girls, he worked alongside Rex Harrison's third wife, Kay Kendall. More on that later, and there's a link to a video on this channel about Kay's tragically short life in the description of this video. During the film, Leslie formed a close platonic friendship with Kay. In the summer of 1938, 14-year-old Leslie transitioned from academic studies to what he considered his real education in life skills. Eager to gain experience on the stage and in film, he worked hard, including at Ealing Studios with the actor Paul Robson, who young Leslie greatly admired, all to contribute to his family finances. By 1939, Leslie was commanding a salary of £5 a week, which was the equivalent buying power of around £400 by today's standards. Incredible. Also at the age of 14, Leslie's interest in girls was increasing. He always loved the company of the opposite sex, and he was now noticing the shenanigans that went on in the theatre. And while working on the production of Dorothy L. Sayers' The Zeal of Thy House at the Garrick Theatre, he mentions in his 2006 autobiography that he and his friend Jack spent a lot of time giggling and fantasising about the females and the goings-on in the cast. On September the 3rd, 1939, 15-year-old Leslie and his family were deeply affected by the official declaration of war. Although Leslie was too young for conscription, his brother Fred received his call-up papers soon after. Leslie continued working in the theatre, earning £8 a week in April 1940 at the Connaught Theatre, Worthing, in the production of If Four Walls Told. During this period he faced a tough lesson when he left his wages in his jacket pocket in the dressing room, only to discover later they'd been stolen. Fortunately, the theatre management compensated him for the loss of earnings, a stroke of luck and generosity during challenging times. In 1942, Leslie Phillips received his own long-awaited call-up papers, a pivotal moment in his life. Prior to this, he delighted audiences at so many venues, including the Royal Opera House, Covent Garden, performing alongside luminaries such as John Gielgud and Vivien Leigh. Even before his military service, Leslie had already established himself as a beloved figure in the world of acting. More of a lover than a fighter by nature, Leslie was driven by a strong sense of patriotism. Despite pleas to consider alternatives, especially from his mother, he stayed firm in his commitment to what he believed was the morally right path, He emphasised to his mother the importance of safeguarding their country, ensuring her and his sister's protection amid the challenges ahead. Leslie achieved Grade A medical requirements and started training at Whalley Barracks. His intriguing army experiences are worth exploring. After his medical, 6 weeks later he was posted to the Royal Artillery for gunnery training and recommended for a commission. Approaching the interview like an audition, his voice and appearance led the selection board to see him as officer material. Enrolled at the Officer Cadet Training Unit, he passed the course and on November the 8th, 1943, a 19-and-a-half-year-old Leslie Phillips became second lieutenant in the Royal Artillery. Following his commission, he enjoyed 2 weeks' leave and was eager to show off his uniform to local girls. He experienced a sudden reality check when he received a letter notifying him of his transfer to the infantry. Despite his strong desire to remain in the Royal Artillery, his objections were met with a difficult ultimatum: either join the infantry voluntarily or face conscription as a private. Of course, Leslie accepted the commission and was soon transferred to the Durham Light Infantry. Leslie, advancing in his army career, looked forward to becoming a captain. However, as his company was chosen for a frontline position, a routine medical exam revealed serious health issues. Leslie had been silently enduring spasms and paralysis, which were escalating. The medical officer sent Leslie for further tests at a hospital in Chelmsford with a specialist in neurological disorders. The initial outcome was that Leslie was downgraded from an A to a C, not fit for active service. Some sources online have identified this as shell shock, although Leslie had not seen active service, so I'm not sure if that can be the case. However, if you know more about it, I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. After his hospital stay, Leslie was informed that he would remain under medical supervision. While his unit was en route to France, Leslie was appointed to oversee the Suffolk Transit Camp at Chadacre Hall. Eager for updates on his unit's status, he was presented with a list of casualties in France. The memory of seeing the deaths and injuries of many of his friends in print left a lasting impact. Survivor guilt overwhelmed him, making Leslie feel he should have perished alongside them. Over 62 years later, he declared that the haunting memory remained and he would never forget. After further medical investigations, rather than being free to join his colleagues, he was downgraded to a health rating of E and was soon formally discharged from the army. Initially, Leslie had no intentions of re-entering the world of acting. Yet after reconnecting with old friends and colleagues, he found himself unexpectedly drawn back into the industry. His first job was at the box office of the Lyric Theatre Hammersmith, although he didn't find much joy in it. As time went on, he shifted to rep theatre, where he discovered a talent for light comedy. In 1945, during the production of the play Army of Preoccupation, a comedy about men adjusting to military life, the actor originally cast as Captain Percy suffered a leg injury. Leslie was selected to fill the significant role, despite having previously only played minor characters. On opening night, the audience erupted in laughter at every word Leslie spoke, marking his first delightful experience of truly entertaining a crowd, and he thoroughly enjoyed every moment of it. Leslie's big break in the West End occurred when he landed the leading role in the sentimental comedy Daddy Longlegs in 1946. While waiting to audition at the Embassy Theatre Swiss Cottage, he met his future wife, the actress Penelope Bartley, who was also auditioning for the same company. Shortly after the couple had met, Laurence Olivier offered Leslie Phillips the opportunity to travel to Australia with Olivier and Vivien Leigh for their Shakespearean tour. Enthusiastic and excited, there was only one question Leslie had. Was there room for his girlfriend Penelope on the tour? The resounding answer was no. Leslie called it a tricky conundrum, the final outcome of which was that Leslie turned the opportunity down and never looked back. Leslie was constantly appearing on stage and in the occasional small parts in films. In 1948, he actually appeared in one of my favourite films, Anna Karenina, alongside Vivien Leigh. He also appeared on stage in classics such as The Winslow Boy and The Happy Man, playing opposite Dora Bryan, and the TV movie Morning Departure with Michael Hordern. If you're interested in Dora or Michael Hordern, I have videos on this channel and we'll leave a link to them in the description. On the 30th of May 1948, Leslie Phillips married Penelope Bartley at All Souls Church, St John's Wood. Penny and Leslie would soon be expecting their first baby, but sadly Penny gave birth prematurely to a daughter who did not survive. By early 1949, Penny was pregnant again, and Leslie was offered the part in the film Train of Events, working alongside a wonderful cast, including Valerie Hobson and the legendary Jack Warner. On the 31st of October 1949, Penny and Leslie welcomed their second daughter into the world, Caroline Elizabeth Phillips. Both Leslie and Penny were overjoyed. The work continued to roll in for Leslie, and in the spring of 1951, Leslie and Penny were excited to find out that Penny was pregnant again. She gave birth to another healthy daughter on the 4th of October 1951, and they named their baby Claudia. A third child, a son who they named Andrew, would be born in November 1954. In 1955, Leslie shared the screen with Diana Dawes in 2 films released that year, As Long as They're Happy, where he portrayed the box office manager, and my absolute favourite, Value for Money, in which he played Rob Johns. I love that movie and I couldn't resist mentioning it. In 1956, Leslie received an offer for a role in Les Girls, directed by George Cukor for MGM, and to be filmed in Hollywood. He starred alongside Gene Kelly, Kay Kendall and Mitzi Gaynor, who later became the godmother to Leslie's second son, Roger Quentin Phillips, born on November the 16th, 1959. Kay Kendall had recommended Leslie for the role of Sir Gerald Wren, a wealthy English banker. Despite enjoying his time in Hollywood, Leslie knew it wasn't a permanent fit for him or for Penny. Despite his success, he never felt settled in California, expressing his strong connection to London. He affirmed that while he enjoyed working abroad, he always loved coming back home. One of Leslie's cherished roles was in the radio series and the follow-up film, The Navy Lark, alongside John Pertwee, the incredibly handsome Dennis Price, and the wonderful Hattie Jakes, as well as other numerous talented cast members. Leslie fondly remembered recording about 250 episodes over 17 years. He made sure not to miss a single one, even flying back from Rome when he was filming an Italian movie, just to record an episode of The Navy Lark before promptly returning to Italy. It was during an appearance in a 1959 comedy that Leslie Phillips would endear himself to a lifetime of admirers, myself included, with his unforgettable role in Carry On Nurse.
So jokingly funny.
Oh, you're tickling.
For here are the smartest set of operators that ever injected lethal laughter, intravenously and irresistibly.
Well, what happens if anything goes wrong?
We have to amputate your leg.
This pivotal appearance not only fueled a lasting affection for Leslie, but also solidified the iconic catchphrase that would be forever associated with him, the timeless and ever charming ding dong. When Leslie read the script, he loved it, but it certainly wasn't the money that encouraged him to take the part. MGM had paid him £500 a day in expenses alone while he was working on Les Girls, whereas Carry On Nurse earned him just £100 a week over 5 weeks in total. The immortal catchphrase, ding dong, is given its first hearing in Carry On Nurse as Jack Bell, played by Leslie, arrives at Haven Hospital for a bunion removal operation, sharing the scene with the lovely Shirley Eaton, who plays Nurse Denton.
Mr. Bell,
Ding dong, you're not wrong.
this way, please.
Hello.
Little did Leslie know at the time that this catchphrase would accompany him throughout his illustrious career, and that ding dong will forever ring in the hearts of his fans. Leslie Phillips never escaped his catchphrases. In the 1960s, he took part in the comedy Doctor films, including Doctor in Love, Doctor in Clover, and Doctor in Trouble. And his utterance of the word hello, as only Leslie could say it, caught the public imagination. He said he would wake up from dreams in which the epitaph on his grave reads, hello and goodbye, with ding dong underneath.
Good morning, Doctor.
Hello.
Hello.
Could we, by a superhuman effort of will, concentrate on the patients, Doctor?
Of course, Sir Lancelot.
Peter Rogers, the producer of the Carry-Ons, wanted Leslie to appear in a further 2 planned Carry-On films he was making, Carry-On Constable and Carry-On Teacher, promising a really good contract, which never really materialised. Leslie, though, thought that Carry-On Teacher was the best of the 3 that he made.
Who's that?
Miss Alcock.
Miss Alcock. Ding dong.
The director of the Carry-On films, Gerald Thomas, assumed Leslie would sign up indefinitely to future productions. However, Leslie had other ideas and did not want to be tied into poor money and possible typecasting. He would, however, appear in Carry On Columbus in 1992 and would say that with hindsight, it should never have been let out of the bag. I couldn't possibly cover every film that Leslie Phillips made in this video. For most of his career, he was working in film and television by day and on the stage at night. He said at one point he was playing 4 different characters in a single day. Some of my all-time favourites include the hilarious A Weekend with Lulu, which hit the screens in 1961. You might even catch it on YouTube. The cast is top-notch, with personal standouts for me being Irene Handel, Kenneth Connor, Shirley Eaton, and the one and only Bob Monkhouse, to name just a few.
But Mother said...
Deirdre? You there?
Oh, there you are, Timothy.
Is she coming too? I mean, is your mother coming too? Oh, and Gaylord as well.
Oh, definitely.
Isn't that nice?
They know who likes them, you know.
Leslie Phillips was part of numerous successful films, not just comedies, such as the 1962 war epic The Longest Day, with an incredible cast featuring legends like John Wayne, Richard Burton, and another personal favourite, John Gregson. Furthermore, he later graced the screens in several blockbusters that included the 1985 classic Out of Africa and the 1987 release Empire of the Sun. Leslie Phillips was also a marvellous voiceover actor with such a distinctive voice. He was much sought after, and featuring in the Harry Potter films in 2001, he voiced the Sorting Hat at Hogwarts in Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone. I'm going to confess here and now, I've never read or seen a Harry Potter book or movie. By the end of his career, Leslie Phillips would have well over 170 film and TV credits, with a prolific amount of stage appearances over the years. While his working life was an enormous success, Leslie experienced many troubles and tragedies in his personal life. In the early 1960s, Leslie had a romantic relationship with Caroline Mortimer, who worked as the assistant stage manager and understudy to the leading lady at the Prince's Theatre. The affair became known during their collaboration on a play, The Big Killing, prompting Leslie's wife, Penny, to swiftly ask for a divorce. Despite Leslie's willingness to do whatever it took to salvage their marriage, he reluctantly accepted Penny's decision, and the couple finalised their divorce in 1965. Leslie's relationship with Caroline continued for 10 years, but eventually unravelled, and the couple separated. due to what Leslie believed was his steadfast refusal to marry and have children with Caroline. After splitting with Caroline Mortimer, Leslie Phillips entered a romantic relationship with the Australian actress Vicky Luke. They lived together for approximately 3 years. However, the challenges of a long-distance relationship led to both of them finding new partners, and they went their separate ways. Leslie began a serious relationship with the actress Angela Schuyler, and in 1977 she moved in with him along with her son Daniel from a previous relationship. The couple eventually married in 1982. Tragically, sometime after their divorce, Leslie's ex-wife Penny had suffered a stroke, which left her disabled, and in 1981, while Leslie was on tour in Australia, he received the devastating news that Penny had died in a house fire. Despite his children's pleas for him to return home, Leslie decided to proceed with his tour and did not attend the funeral, a choice he would later regret deeply. He felt that his family never fully forgave him for not being there during that difficult time. Disaster struck once again in 1984 when Leslie's beloved 92-year-old mother, Cecilia, fell victim to a horrifying mugging. Despite bravely resisting 3 youths trying to snatch her bag, Cecilia succumbed to her injuries sustained during the attack and the attempted robbery, passing away in the hospital on March the 25th, the exact date of her husband's death 49 years earlier. Leslie, along with his brother Fred and sister Doris, were at her bedside when she passed away. Sadly, a few months after their mother's death, Doris also passed away. Throughout their marriage, Leslie's wife Angela faced battles with depression, an eating disorder and alcoholism. In 2009, she received treatment for bowel cancer, and although she appeared to have overcome the cancer, Angela struggled with the fear of its possible return. On April the 11th, 2011, Angela swallowed the contents of a bottle of drain cleaner and fell down the steps of the couple's Maida Vale home, fracturing several bones, including her spine. Despite being taken to the hospital, she was pronounced dead 2 hours later, leaving Leslie devastated. 2 years after Angela's passing in 2013, Leslie, then 89, married his third and final wife, widowed social worker Zara Carr, who was 50 at the time. At the age of 90, Leslie Phillips experienced a debilitating stroke on top of a bus after a shopping trip to Oxford Street, rendering him unable to pursue his acting career any further. In 1997, Leslie had been honoured with a Lifetime Achievement Award by the Evening Standard, and a decade later, the Critics' Circle bestowed upon him another accolade. The year 1998 had marked his appointment by Queen Elizabeth II as an Officer of the Order of the British Empire, otherwise known as an OBE. And on the 7th of May 2008, he was granted a Commander of the Order of the British Empire, a CBE, by the Queen. Leslie was well loved in the industry, with many illustrious names in the business that he counted as close friends. He was also known to work tirelessly for various charities throughout his life. Leslie Samuel Phillips died in his sleep at his home in Maida Vale on the 7th of November 2022, aged a magnificent 98. Today he rests here just behind his cherished parents at Chingford Mount Cemetery. Currently his resting place lacks a memorial, yet one can hope that in the not too distant future a fitting tribute will grace his grave, commemorating the remarkable life of this beloved entertainer. Thank you so much for joining me in this wonderful step back in time. I hope you've enjoyed the video and remembering the life of the fabulous Leslie Phillips. If you have enjoyed the video, I'd really appreciate it if you would like, share and subscribe. If you haven't done so already, that is, and if you have, thank you so much. I really do appreciate it. And I look forward to seeing you in the next video.